Hello, seekers. Wildly of Wildly Tarot here, and this is your Moonday message for the week beginning May 3rd, 2021. This week should feel like a breath of fresh air, like some new, delightful energy moving through the channel after the crunchy week that we all experienced last week. The moon just shifted from Capricorn into Aquarius. The sun is in Taurus. So we have this delightful balance of big thinking air and grounded sensuality for us this week. We just left Beltane, so we are firmly in this sensual space, and it feels really, really good in my body. And the cards are here to support that as well. So the first card I want to pull out, the archetype for this week, we received Get Wild. And this feels so appropriate. The message of this card is to allow ourselves to follow the gut knowing, the intuition of the body, to really allow ourselves to be guided or led this week by these impulses that come from the body through the channel. And this may not be the way in which you normally experience your flow of life, and that's okay. This might be new territory for you, a fun invitation. And this is what I want to encourage in all of us, to allow the impulse of the body, the call, the yes that comes through to be the guiding force for us all this week, to allow ourselves to embody and experience this sensation of getting wild. This doesn't mean, we go out drinking and act recklessly and do things we'll regret in the morning. That's not how I define wild. Wild with an I, not with a Y, of course. And for myself, wild is coming back to our own true animal nature, coming back to the primalness of our body, really listening. Do I need to eat some sweets right now? Is my body desiring some carbs? Do I need some protein? Do I need to take a rest? It is amazing what a 10 or 15 minute rest will do for the energy of the body when we have a full day of chores or activities or work planned for ourselves. Our capitalist culture has us trained to go, go, go and do, and productivity, expansion. And part of getting wild is actually being so in the body that we can say, ooh, big output of energy. Now I need to drink some water. I need to sit down. I need to put my feet up for 10, 15 minutes. Allow the body to come back into homeostasis. Really bring my energy levels back on point. Have a little snack, cuddle with my animal or my children or my partner. Maybe even have the gloriousness of sitting down and reading in the middle of the day simply because it brings you pleasure. This is how we get wild. We allow what feels pleasurable as well as needed to help guide us through our decision making for this week. And then in the tarot, we received some really juicy medicine as well. First, we received Queen of Swords. This is, for me, one of the fiercest cards in the deck. It represents really holding our boundaries clearly, not angrily or outwardly projecting. You can see that the sword is pointed down, simply with clarity, with clearness. I need a 20-minute nap today. I'm going to create space in my schedule. I'm going to claim that time for myself, and I'm going to take it without feeling shame or guilt. This is just my story. I love myself a good nap. But what is it for you? What are the things that you could offer yourself that really would support you, would actually help you be more productive and in alignment in the long run, but perhaps you don't allow yourself because of social stigma because of what you are concerned your family or friends might think or say of you, or the story that's simply running in the background, your belief system. So the Queen of Swords says, enough of that. We can let that go. Let's sit in this idea of getting wild, being in the sensual nature of the body, and really clearly being with what we need and then claiming it fiercely without apology. Then we have the Knight of Wands, and this says, can we let this journey this week be an intuitive adventure? Can we allow ourselves to follow our gut and maybe do things that are a little out of order for us? You know, it might be unusual for us to claim this space. It might be unusual for us to take those 2 15-minute breaks along with the 30 minutes that we are allowed by law during our work time, right? I know lots and lots of people who work through their lunch break, who actively don't allow themselves rest because that's not what everyone else is doing, or because they want to appear a certain way. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame or blame. Of course, we want to do our best in our work. And the Knight of Wands says, would it really harm if we took a 15-minute walk in the morning and in the afternoon, since we do have break times available to us? What would it feel like this week to actually claim those small bits of time and utilize them in a way that our body is asking us for? What would it feel like to do this week a little bit differently? The Knight invites us into the adventure and the spirit of play that is possible when we have a week that is encompassing this idea of getting wild. And then finally, we have the Three of Wands. And so it's really, I'm feeling this direction that get wild. This is not just with our free time. The Three of Wands is in relation to work and how we spend our intellectual and mind energy with our work, whatever that is, whether it's your career, whether it's a hobby that you're turning into a business, whatever you consider work to be. The Three of Wands is about doing that more effectively and more efficiently. And we have it connected here with this idea of get wild. So it's a very big theme this week for all of us to employ this archetype in the spaces in which we create resource for ourselves. This is a week of allowing everything in our life to feel playful, to feel in alignment, to feel like it has an edge of fun. We're being asked to step away from the duality thinking that work and play are different. They are simply different activities. And how can we meld them? How can we merge them? How can we make work more playful? And how can we make the ways in which we play a little more grounded and maybe expansive for our spiritual natures? This is just the invitation this week. Can we integrate a little bit more fully so that we're not living in these different schisms of the mind where we're like, okay, this is my work hat, and now this is my play hat, and this is my parenting hat, and this is my partnership hat? Can we pull these in a little more closely into the channel and be in the animal body and simply be ourselves in our work, play, life, moving through, following the internal knowing, the gut instincts that are coming from our animal body, from our channel, from this place in which we always belong, and allow that to be our guiding force as we move through the week. The words that were pulled to really encompass this week, we got surrender and play. And I think that is entirely apropos for the message that was moving through. Can we surrender to play? And can we surrender to the idea that everything in our life can be playful in some way, can have some semblance of joy or sensuality or pleasure, even if it's uncomfortable? even in the midst of things feeling chaotic, can we find just the smallest thread of playfulness and joy to follow? Because these are our days. This is our time. This is our one wild and precious ride in this life, in this body. And it's our responsibility to ourselves and to the fabric of the dream weave to show up as fully as we choose in this life. And then finally, the stone that wishes to support us. We received this beautiful amethyst point. And what I'm receiving from this stone is that we receive these intuitions. They come down into the channel through the crown chakra. We're always receiving them all the time. And yet it's up to us to capture them, to claim them, to own them and say, ooh, this feels good in my channel. I'm going to focus. I'm going to point this direction. I'm going to follow this intuition rather than do what the prescribed thing might be for me to do on any given day or week or moment. But instead, following what the intuitive sense is, while still keeping in tune with our obligations and responsibilities. How do we navigate the dance of both? How do we walk the lines of being a responsible human being on this planet while still being a wild thing that follows our gut knowing? This is the invitation this week. And that is the message for this week. I hope that it serves you well. I hope that you have everything that you need. My May calendar is open and I do have spaces available for the next few weeks. If you would like to share space with me, I would highly encourage you to hop into my bio and schedule a session. I would love to share space and support you on your journey. And also, if you really enjoy these messages, I invite you to check out my Patreon. For only $3.33 a month, you also receive in-depth downloads with regards to the new month, the dark moon, and the full moon, as well as all the other content that I offer. So please check it out if you would like to dive into my work a little more deeply in a way that's really, really affordable. I so appreciate all of you for sharing some time with me, and I hope that you have a beautiful, wild week.